Nervous, can't you tell? You want to make a good character for D&D, but you don't want to spend so many time in it and so much effort in it that you're gonna burn out before even playing. Well, let's make it together. But there's gonna be a disclaimer on effort, because there is a giant difference between when you're playing your character and when you're making it. Hello everybody, welcome to the Biosphere. I'm JoeRimon, and today we're gonna be working on that first D&D character, and I have some advice for you guys, some tips and tricks that gonna set you apart from everybody else with their character. For this video, we're actually gonna use two of my own characters. My very first character that I created, a very toned down, laid back assassin ranger. And then we're gonna use my second character that is actually something entirely different, and we're gonna apply all of the tips and tricks and see if I use them. So before we're going into making the characters itself, there are a couple of things that you guys need to know or need to address for yourself. Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder and all of those games have one thing in common, and that is roleplay. Role-playing is in Dungeons & Dragons, is in Pathfinder, is a very important aspect, and you need to be able to maintain yourself throughout a session. A session can last up to 3 to 4 hours, which is a long time. And if you're starting out playing Dungeons & Dragons, it's gonna be hell if you have a character where you have trouble connecting with. A lot of people will say, yeah, just make a character that looks like you. Make a character that resembles you in the game. I'm gonna say the exact opposite. The reason why, I've been there, I've done that, I wanted the character to die. It's my first character, his name was Tonnerin. He was an archer, a ranger archer. I wanted him to die. I was sick of him, I was bored, I didn't like to play him. The second one, Charles, he was a blast to play, and I actually applied all of the tips and tricks that I'm gonna tell you guys, and I still love to play him. He's just, it's snap, I'm in there, I'm in the zone, and we're good to go for even longer than a session of 4 hours. And it all comes down to roleplay. The thing I said before, that people say make a character that looks like you, that has the same traits like you, there is a problem that slips in very easily, and that is metagaming or meta role-playing. Meta role-playing is actually something that people subconsciously do when they're playing a game. They're using all of the information that they have at their disposal, and they're planning it or they're using it in the game. Problem is, with D&D, with Pathfinder, your character doesn't know everything. You do. As a player, you know what's going on the table, you know what the DM is saying, you know what other people are saying, but if your character happens to be in another room and two other party members are having a conversation down the hallway and your character isn't able to hear it, he doesn't know that information. When you use that information, you're meta-playing. You're using everything at your disposal, and that's something that slips in very easily when you make a character based upon yourself. So you need hooks to keep you from doing that. You need those role-play hooks that say, oh, hold on a minute. A lot of games give you the opportunity to have a certain choices that can align with yourself or not align with yourself. That's actually what you're gonna do. You're gonna make an internal decision wheel based upon your character and based upon yourself. I found 4 hooks. There are probably a ton of more hooks that you can use, but I found 3 or 4 hooks that you can use, that you can utilize in order to make your life easier in the long run and have an enjoyable time playing Dungeons & Dragons. The first thing that you need to do when you start out, and that's a practice round. So we're gonna practice this. You're gonna make a character based upon yourself. You're gonna choose a class, you're gonna choose a race, and this character is gonna resemble you in the grand scheme of Dungeons & Dragons. So I made an archer, a ranger in Dungeons & Dragons. Back in the day it was still 4th edition, but it applies the same for the 5th edition. It was a ranger, and he was very calculated. He was very quiet. So that resembles myself. So I'm kind of a low-key guy. My second character, Charles, he's an undead warlock. He's oblivious on what's happening around him, and he has this urge of revenge, but he forgot on who he wants to take revenge on. So that's the completely opposite, and that's the first thing that you need to do, and this applies to character traits as well, and that's actually the second point. So we're gonna combine those two hooks, and they need to be the complete opposite of your first creation. Besides making the opposite, you need to stop making traits at a certain point, and I advise everyone to make 1 to 3 very distinct character traits, not something very obscure that can apply to almost everybody. For instance, what you're not supposed to do is write down that your character is shy, or that your character is brave, or that he's helpful or willing to help. So you need to make sure that those things are part of your actual trait. I'm gonna give you an example of Charles because I didn't do anything for Thonorin. So Charles, for instance, he has an incredible love for animals and everything that is smaller than him. He doesn't know why, because he lost his memory, but still he wants to take revenge on everything. That's actually the second trait that I have for him. He has a tendency to do evil things. The third hook is something that a lot of beginning players stumble upon, and that would be creating a background. If I have one suggestion for every new beginner player, is to keep your background short. 4 to 5 sentences should be more than enough in order to get yourself a good idea of who your character is, to give the rest of the party a good idea of your character, and to give the DM opportunity to build on that. So these 3 hooks are very important. They're gonna make your life easier for a couple of reasons. First of all, you're gonna be put on the spot and out of your comfort zone, because you're not being yourself. You can look at the character traits in one glance and make that internal decision wheel on what's he gonna do, what I would do. And in this case, you should always choose for what your character would do. Second, the background is just a way to reflect on yourself on, okay, can I place this decision wheel in my history as a character? And that's actually all of the hooks that I have for you guys, except one more extra thing, and that's improvisation. The fact that I say 1 to 3 distinct character traits, 4 to 5 sentences, is to limit you as a player in order to make sure that there is room for improvisation. You need to be able to be put on the spot by your DM, or put your DM on the spot by saying something that pops up in your character's mind that he needs to play on, or that your dungeon master has prepared for you specifically to see how you react on that. It's really a game between improvisation of your DM and improvisation of your character. I hope you're gonna use these tips. I hope they're useful, and I hope it will make your decision or your way of thinking on making a character easier. If you liked these tips, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I think it's on that side. Leave a like, leave a comment, and don't forget, I'm also a Twitch streamer. So guys, if you have some questions, hop on in that stream and I'll be glad to answer it. And I'll see you guys next time. What's that? It just looked at me. Can I kill that? Kill the llama. I don't know if Ukraine is gonna be happy with that, but here we go.